Just keeping things real. Long Island as a market is a really funky market. There is no other market like Long Island, and I'll tell you why from my point of view. First of all, you're talking about 2.7 million people, which, by the way, in media world, makes Long Island market number 18. It is the 18th largest market in the United States by itself. Nassau 7th. 18th. That is unbelievable, and it provides all sorts of things that happen in media vis-a-vis its top 20 ranking. It also has the designation of being the only top 20 market. The only top 20 market. You got New York, Chicago, Washington, LA, Houston. You go through the line, and then Nassau 7th. Right there. It's unbelievable. It is the only top 20 market embedded in another top 20 market. Market number 18 is inside market number 1. I mean, New York market is Manhattan, the 5 boroughs, Monmouth, Ocean, Westchester, Fairfield, and Long Island. 25 million people, or something crazy like that. And runs a geography that is, I mean, what were they thinking when they created one market that ran from basically the Bronx to Rhode Island? That's really what the market is. I mean, when you think about it, now you go 8 miles north on the North Shore of Long Island, and you're in Connecticut. Depending on how far across along the south, whatever, 15 miles, 10 miles, whatever it happens to be. And can you imagine one market that ran from the Bronx, called Bronx Queens, and then called Westchester Nassau? Well, you can play any game you want with it, but the bottom line is you look at a map and it goes all the way up to the tip of Montauk, and you look up and you're in Rhode Island. That is unbelievable in terms of trying to reach one market. It's not one market. In fact, even Arbitron, which is our ratings company, chops up into 5 different parts for us. You got Nassau, you got Western Suffolk, you got Central Suffolk, you got Central Eastern Suffolk, you got Eastern Suffolk. I mean, it's absolutely incredibly difficult to reach this market. No downtown. We have no hub. Well, if Charles and Scott have their way, maybe we will with the lighthouse. I don't know. I'm not pro or con, but we don't have a hub. There is no downtown. You go to Hartford, most markets look like a donut. You got a hole in the middle, which is the city, and you got everybody lives around. Everybody lives in Hartford. That's where they live: north, south, west, east. Long Island, 168 communities. 120 miles long, 22 miles wide. Unbelievable. And it's kind of a weird mentality, kind of, I think. And I'll explain what I mean by that. I grew up in Connecticut, and really for a long time, when I lived, for those of us who live in Connecticut, I don't know, Cheshire maybe a little bit more towards New Haven, but I lived down in Lower Fairfield County. I lived in the Darien, Norwalk, Stamford area. And as long as I was growing up, I felt like my back was to Hartford, and I was facing New York. I was a New Yorker. I listened to New York radio, I listened to New York TV, I watched New York TV, I read the New York papers, I followed the Rangers, I followed the Mets and the Yankees and the Knicks, and I was in New York. In fact, in 1983, I think, in the 80s, they did a survey in Bridgeport of who the mayor of Bridgeport was. And like 85% of the kids that responded said the mayor of Bridgeport was Ed Koch. Why? Because they're hearing about Mayor Koch all day long. You go a little bit past Bridgeport, you get into that New Haven Bridgeport corridor, you're in Connecticut. For sure. And it's also a transient state. People are going through, they're going back, they're going to Boston, they're going to Maine, they're going down to Washington, they're going through all day long. If you're on Long Island, and you're not supposed to be, you took a wrong turn at the Verrazano or the George Washington Bridge or something, because you're, what the hell, I don't know where you're going. It's got what I call a cul-de-sac mentality. It's a tremendous sense of identity. I learned it when I first got here. I didn't live, when I moved here, I didn't know where the hell I was going to live. I thought I knew Long Island. But when I moved here, I ended up living in Huntington. But I wasn't going to be living in Huntington, New York. where was I going to be living? I was going to be living in Huntington, Long Island. Small little thing, but it is absolutely the way we look at ourselves. It is Long Island. I also learned that I wouldn't be living in Long Island. On Long Island. That was reminded to me a number of times. Still to this day. But it's incredibly vibrant. And for that reason, we are bombarded on a daily basis with irrelevant information. There's not a person in this room that doesn't listen, watch, or read something out of New York City, which I've always thought of as Manhattan. I don't really think of the Bronx and Staten Island as New York City. I think of the city as Manhattan. But we all, 2, 4, 7, ABC, NBC, CBS, PIX. How many people watch the Oscars? You must have a riser. So for the first 17 minutes where nobody sent me an email telling me to go back. But all of us watch, come on, we watch ABC, and we watch the affiliates, they're out of New York. Unless you're a News 12 junkie, you're going to watch the newscasts after your shows. You're going to get that information. How much of that information do we care about? Do I really care about the woman whose basement flooded in Parsippany? Maybe we do. I don't want to get too off on that. But do I really care about the house fire in Staten Island? Do I really care about the political race in New Jersey or Westchester? Do I really care? We've almost become ingrained at this point in the New York tri-state area to care. I grew up listening to 4 stations in Connecticut. I listened to 102.7 WNEW. I listened to 102.3 WVAB. I listened to 92.7 WLIR. And I listened to 99.1 WPLR. I was in Connecticut, but I knew that there was a place called Cartoons and Raceway Park. Never been there, never know what it is, but I knew about it. So this issue of irrelevant information makes localism, that which is important to us, so critical. I like to think that our media, in large ways, helps to identify who we are, makes us remember who we are as people, where we're from, what's important to us. When I'm in a different city or I'm traveling on business, I know I'm in a different city when I wake up and turn the TV on or listen to the radio or look at the newspaper, and it's a different look. It's a different weather pattern. It's not that thing that looks like the fish and the TV in the New York, and it's different. It looks different. The traffic patterns are different. Everything is different. But familiarity, what's local to us, and this is a huge part of how we market our media properties. There is not a lot of difference between my stations, what we play on our stations, and what else is out there. I'll tell you right now, you can listen to, K-Joys like LTW, MJCs like PLJ or Z100, B103 is like CBS FM, RCN is like Q104. Okay, I admit it. HOI is a little different. That's kind of a unique, different station. Biggest is by the biggest star. You know right? Good. Okay. So, what's important to us as a company, what's important to me as running this company, is what's local and what's between the songs. So when we try to be those mirrors that's reflecting locally what's going on Long Island, we're out there trying to honestly be involved with Long Island, get our teeth and get deep into the dirt of Long Island. We do it strategically. That's why the charitable work that we do, the philanthropy we do, is a want to, not a have to. I'm getting the hook, which I'm glad, from Rich. I'm going to stop here. It's very nice.